place where Dr. King prayed for the soul of this great nation. Tens of thousands of citizens from all walks of life have come here today to rekindle his dream and once again hope that all America will soon come to the realization that the wars that we wage today in faraway lands are immoral, unconscionable, and unwinnable. This gathering here today is America's wake-up call. The giant called democracy is at last stirring again. Citizens are coming together to say freedom does not sleep. It may have been fueled and lulled for the moment into a lethargy, but it's fully awake now, and we the people are its engine. We must awaken the apathetic, the cynical, the many angry doubters who see their future as the perpetual hopelessness, and show them that our greatest weapon is the vote, and it is the answer to much that nags at us.
Crowd at One Nation March. That's all. The Reverend Zachariah A. Jackson from the Church of What's Happening Downtown Talk Talk Show. Yeah, it's all about One Nation. They're talking about jobs and things of that nature. Don't bust the union. People are realizing now what time it is. Can we pull off? Can we be one nation under God? Will we stay the course? So many times that we have come together and then only to abandon the plight when the sheaves seem to be many for some. So I'm asking, can we really pull off this one nation thing? Will it work? Will we stay together? Will, the words of George W. Bush during the Iraqi war, stay the course? So many times we don't stay the course. We fall off ourselves. And that's the reason why these unions and these jobs are being shipped overseas. And then, as I said this right here, and I'll stick to this, and until somebody in a high position or in an industrial position, they can sit down and talk to me, tell me, can we retool America with these factory jobs? Is it worth it? Should we do it? This is the question I want to know. I'm the American Reverend Zachariah A. Jackson from the Church of What's Happening Now. All right. My friend, how you doing? All right, got somebody. I'm the American Reverend Zachariah A. Jackson. Who are you?
My name's Alex Latorda.
Where you from?
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. You know, my father's originally from Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah?
He came to Jersey in the 50s. His name is Howard Victor Jackson. Now, I got a long lost aunt in Pittsburgh. I've never met her. I have never contacted her. They had some family disputes years ago. He never went back because he went home to glory, he's dead. And something has been on my mind about going to Pittsburgh. And I want to come to Pittsburgh and I want to preach this story. Someone has got to know something about my long-lost aunt and my long-lost grandfather.
What neighborhood was it?
I've never been.
Oh, okay.
You know, he had some kind of problem with his father. His mother died, he had a problem with his father, and he just never went back.
Did he work in Pittsburgh?
My father?
Yeah.
Well, my father left was in the 50s. I wasn't even born yet.
Okay, do you know if he worked at all? Like
I don't think he worked in Pittsburgh. I think his father was an auto shop guy. You know what I mean? And I just don't, I have not really nothing. All I have is a story. I figure if Alice Helly can go to Gambia and tell his story and put together roots, maybe I can come to Pittsburgh and tell my story. Somebody's got to be living.
So you think there was a big auto shop area in Shadyside. It was the auto shop
Okay.
where everyone would go buy their cars and there were shops there.
Okay.
And it used to be a big black community. Now it's more gentrified and there's more people.
Okay, that might be the community.
So I don't know. It might. I would look at Shady Side, but the people who used to live there are moved.
Gone. Right.
Because
What I'm hoping for is that I go to some of the churches, get on the news there, and just tell a story. Maybe someone heard of Isaac Jackson. Maybe someone heard of Louise Jackson, and then we can start from there. That's all I know about. I've never been to Pittsburgh. All I know is the town is built.
The East Liberty Presbyterian Church might be a place to start looking.
Maybe I will.
And that's one of the biggest churches in the city.
And it's been there.
Yeah, and it's in the middle of the largest black community in the city. So if you wanted to like start there, and then on the north side, I'm not really so much familiar with it. And then there's the Hill District, which is more like it's a history right where jazz is really starting.
Okay.
So, where the auto shops were in the old times, there's like a sign explaining where all the it's in Shady Side, and on either side is East Liberty and the Hill District. And I imagine he would have come from either one of those
because it's segregated time at that time.
And that's where you know, when the income went up, people got pushed out. And so if you wanted to look in there,
I'm gonna do it. I told some guys, told some of my friends, I said, you know what? I'm gonna make that journey. Probably next March, right after income tax time. I'm gonna take that money. I'm going to Pittsburgh, and I'm gonna preach this story around. Someone's got to hear something.
That's East Liberty Presbyterian Church. If you could go in and
East Liberty Presbyterian.
they might be having an event next month.
Yeah.
And if you come to Pittsburgh next month, we're having a march. If you want to come,
maybe I'll come up to the march.
They're trying to drill for natural gas inside the city limits, and this is a neighborhood coalition of groups that came together, first-time organizers, first-time activists, and they put together this website. If you want to read more about it, and we're saying no to drilling in our city, and then there's people coming from all over who are affected by it. What part of New Jersey are you from?
Plainfield.
Okay, I was born in Freehold.
Freehold, okay.
And my parents
my English town.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my parents are from Passaic and Clifton.
Okay. That's the way. That's north.
Yeah, that's north.
Right.
Okay.
Let me ask you this way. What do you think about this march?
I'm excited because I was scared that people wouldn't challenge Obama.
Okay.
I was afraid that we were going to go and be armchair, or I said one time, it feels like everyone's still drunk from inauguration, and we're not out in our place where we need to be. And I'm really excited that it's so big, and that anti-war is on the table, and education's on the table, and I like how it was connected in a way that challenges but also encourages Obama, and I think that's probably the way to go, because I mean he's going to definitely hear it. I mean he's over there.
Yeah, right.
So I hope that it does. Like the only reason he had the positions he did was because we had strong social movements. Sure. He wouldn't have taken those positions had we not been organizing in the first place.
Sure.
We showed up today and we got all of our issues on the table.
Let me ask you this right here. Okay, you hear many people talking, Tea Party, a whole lot talking about taking back. Everybody talking about taking back. Reindustrializing America and things like that. Building factories and things like that stuff. You know, to retool America like it was back in the 50s, because the factories have been sold all over, in Asia and everything, most of the factories today. Do you think that if we retool America with the manufacturing factories, will we be able to afford to buy their products?
Depends on. So in Pittsburgh, there's 9 electric car plants that are going to be coming to Southwest Pennsylvania.
Okay.
They're Japanese companies.
Yeah, they're Japanese companies.
And they were negotiated by the steelworkers inside of the G20 meeting.
Sure. That's good. I like that.
And they were able to sit at the table and make demands that we want electric car plants, and that was the green jobs aspect.
Yes.
And because the steelworkers are going to get those plants. Like I'm absolutely sure that they'll have those union plants.
Sure.
And like, if they're union plants, if they're good unions, like the steelworkers, and they're green jobs, and they're going to stick around because electric car cars are the part of the future.
We all right now are 6 weeks waiting on the Chevy Volt.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on the Chevy Volt for many years. I read about a similar car in Popular Science magazine 10, 20 years ago. You understand? With the battery at the time was big as my car. So the idea, we all are waiting on this right here. But what I'm asking is this right here. It seems like there's a bigotry that's going on against their manufacturing, against their might, if you will, lack of a better word. Can we start?
Don't listen to the critics and naysayers.
Can we rebuild these America, retool America with manufacturing companies? Can we afford it? Light bulbs, my hat comes from China. Should we do it? That's the question. Or should we move to another level? I mean, we've done this work before.
Well, here's the thing. Those jobs are accessible. Like my neighborhood's East Liberty, right?
Okay.
And there used to be a Nabisco plant.
Okay.
And it was a good union plant that was a root of our community, like a foundation. And we didn't. They closed, and now it's a shopping center. They turned it into a shopping center and like offices for Google, and a very small office for Google. But the jobs that are there now pay half the wages that the union jobs used to pay. And our community now has to take those jobs because they're the jobs that are available.
Sure.
And we're stuck, with jobs, and then now our living our houses are falling apart. We have a lot of slum houses, a lot of slumlords. A lot of people left the area. And the houses are getting renovated to be apartments, and then they're not kept up. And it's like, and we got a lot of like blight, there's a lot of crime.
Sure.
Had that plant not closed, maybe there'd be hope.
Well, where is the Nabisco plant now? Where did it go?
I forget where it went. It went out. It went out of state, I believe.
Out of state.
And
it didn't leave the country.
It might have left the country. I don't know. It's out of Southwest.
My question, what I'm trying to ask is this right here. No one's seemed to be able to put the nail on the head. This right here. Can we
feel your own power? Use your own power. Don't rely on experts.
Can we retool America?
And last lesson.
All our goods. Should we start making hats again? Should we make light switches and things of that nature? Because my question is, if we did, could we afford them? Is it cheaper to have Asia to do it?
It is, but the reason it's cheaper is because of the World Trade Organization, and then the trade agreements that were negotiated years ago under Reagan, the sustainability of that of like the Asian like now they're coming up and they're going to start paying, like in Bangladesh there's a sweatshop workers union and they're demanding a 17-cent raise, and there's going to be 35-cent total wage, and so they're coming up like the workers are organizing there and agitating.
Well, they're doing what we did in the 50s.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still a long way away because their evolution, psychological evolution, that they have not evolved in terms of the economy that we have. They haven't done that. It'll be maybe 25 years before they do. But I'm saying, the question I'm asking the people today is, should we take advantage of that in terms of continue to support the Asian market, or should we try to rebuild the market?
I think we should rebuild, but we should rebuild much smarter than was done in the past.
Okay, but if we do, my question is,
keep them safe and strong.
Can we afford to buy that? Would I be able to afford to buy that light switch?
Thank you for your witness.
Walmart.
I believe so. I believe that the whole economy would like we would lift up the bottom, right? The working class folks that can't afford it now. I mean, people can't afford it now. If it was produced here, I mean, they'd have those jobs. The real wages would go up.
But then wouldn't it cost us more to make it though than it does them? And maybe that's the reason why. Like maybe
I believe that. It's the job of the government to protect jobs in this country and make sure people have jobs.
Well, can we evolve into new jobs?
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? Harry Belafonte had a really good quote today. It's like there'd be so many more billions of dollars available for the government to help boost the economy here if they weren't in wars.
Sure.
And we didn't have spending on and if we tax the 1%, the wealthiest 1%, and that's in the short term, we're going to provide that would provide a lot of relief for people.
Sure.
And it would build up our economy. And ultimately, I think we just need to abolish capitalism. So I believe that the idea that I can rent your body for my as a worker, as a boss, like I'm your boss and you're my worker, and I can rent your body and command that you do what I want.
So how else would we do it if without capitalism?